man at the art gallery told me I couldn't possibly understand the painting in front of us. I painted it. I was standing in front of my largest piece at the gallery opening, champagne in hand, when a man in an expensive suit approached and started explaining my own painting to me. He had no idea I was the artist because the placard said Riley Turner, who he clearly assumed was a man since he kept talking about his brilliant technique. This guy Robert looked me up and down and said, "You seem young to be at an opening like this. Let me guess, looking for a rich boyfriend? Smart girl, lots of wealthy men here." He gestured at my painting like he owned it. "See, what Riley is doing here requires years of training to appreciate. You probably just think the colors are pretty. The average woman just sees decoration." I took a sip of champagne and said, "Interesting perspective," which I guess he took as encouragement. Robert moved closer to the painting, physically stepping in front of me, and continued his lecture. "A girl like you probably thinks this is just nice to look at, but there's actual intelligence behind it. The artist is obviously a man because women simply don't have this kind of technical mastery. Female painters do flowers and feelings. This has real intellectual depth. It's biological, really. Men are just more capable of this level of abstraction." When I mentioned I was familiar with the artist's work, Robert laughed and patted my shoulder. "Following him on Instagram to look at the pretty pictures doesn't count as being familiar with art, sweetheart. You probably think you're cultured because you went to that Van Gogh light show. Real knowledge comes from decades of study, not whatever you learned from TikTok." Robert decided to test me, rapid-firing questions. "Who's Basquiat? What's chiaroscuro? Name 3 Renaissance painters besides Da Vinci." When I started to answer, he cut me off. "Wrong. See, this is why galleries shouldn't have open events. You probably Googled some terms before coming here to impress men. But Riley here is working in a tradition you couldn't possibly understand without a proper education. Not community college, sweetie. Real universities." He returned to my painting, now explaining it louder to draw a crowd. "What Riley has achieved here would cost probably $100,000 in education to even attempt. The materials alone cost more than you'd make in a month at whatever retail job you have." He looked at my outfit with disgust. "Target clearance rack, right? Someone who shops there couldn't possibly grasp the investment in this piece. He probably spent more on one brush than your entire outfit." When I suggested the artist might be self-taught, Robert sneered at me. "Is that how you learned about art? Painting parties?" Robert grabbed my wrist to pull me to another angle, his grip too tight. "You're too stupid to even stand in the right spot. Riley intended for this to be viewed from exactly here. Your ignorance is actually disrespectful to his work." He kept his hand on my wrist while explaining. "Though honestly, explaining this to you is like teaching calculus to a toddler. You lack the basic foundation to understand any of it." He noticed me trying to pull away and squeezed harder. "What? Am I keeping you from taking selfies? This is exactly why serious collectors hate these events. Girls like you come for the free alcohol and to hunt for sugar daddies. You're polluting the space where real art appreciation happens." He waved at a security guard. "She's drunk and harassing patrons. You should check if she even belongs here." Then Robert turned and spoke to the crowd that had gathered. "This is what's wrong with art today. Unqualified people like her think their opinions matter. Riley Turner is a genius who will be studied in universities. The difference between someone like him and someone like her is that he has actual talent and intelligence, while she's just taking up space that belongs to people who deserve to be here. She's literally stealing oxygen from real art lovers." People murmured uncomfortably, and I think someone was about to tell him who I was, but that's when the curator stepped up to the